If you have a child under the age of 18 years old, then you need to watch this entire video, because we are now hearing reports that lawmakers are pushing for an increased child tax credit. This means instead of a $2,000 child tax credit, we could potentially see the $3,600 child tax credit come back, or like our Vice President-elect J.D. Vance wants, he wants a $5,000 child tax credit, or 150% more than the current CTC. Now, I'm going to break down what is going on at this time, but the key here is that lawmakers, or mainly the Republican Party, is trying to cut wasted spending from the federal government. If they can accomplish this, then that means they will push some of those savings over to the American people. In which ways? Well, that's what we're going to discuss. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. Over the past several years, I've done so many videos, hundreds and hundreds of videos talking about stimulus that was coming. Well, we received a lot of stimulus payments during the course of the pandemic. We got $600 checks, we got $1,200 checks, we got $1,400 checks, we got economic impact payments, we got EIDL loans, we got PPP loans, right? The list goes on and on. But one of the big ones that lawmakers are in favor of, and this is a bipartisan kind of support here, is child tax credits. Right now, it's at risk of going back down to like $1,000 per child. But it's because of this. J.D. Vance wants a $5,000 child tax credit. But he is not the only one. Look at this right here. Senator Josh Hawley, just last week, he's pitching a massive increase to the child tax credit. But is it going to be bigger? Is it going to be less? Well, look at this. It says, Senator Josh Hawley is proposing a huge expansion of the child tax credit, setting up a potential fight with budget hawks as GOP lawmakers work to hash out their priority tax bill. Now, he's planning $5,000. Okay, look at this. It says the proposal would increase the credit from $2,000 to $5,000 per child and allow parents to use it to offset their payroll tax liabilities. Okay, that's the key. Now, I want to read you some of these, some of the things that you need to know right now. Okay, look at this. It says proposed an extension of the child tax credit on Tuesday. The proposal would increase the credit from $2,000 to $5,000 per child. Hawley said he would like the expanded child tax credit to be included in next year's reconciliation bill. It says originally enacted in 1997 under President Bill Clinton, President Biden expanded the child tax credit as part of the American Rescue Plan in 2021 to help families recover from the effects of the pandemic. One of the big things that he did, the huge things, is that they did child tax credit payments where for 6 months out of the year, families would receive a monthly payment. If you had a child between the ages of 0 and 5, then you'd get a $3,600 payment, or $3,600 child tax credit for the year. But you would get $300 of that every single month. I believe it started in like July. Okay. If you had a child that was between the ages of 6 and 17, I believe, then you'd get $250 a month. And it would just add up. And I think the maximum amount was like 8 people or something like that. Anyway, that was huge. Now, this is where things are going. And I've told you this before, that right now the current administration, the Biden administration, doesn't have full support from Republicans. Republicans are not going to bend over backwards to provide anything, a win for Democrats at this time. Even if this means helping out the American people, because really we're less than a month away, the Republican Party can accomplish everything in the next month or so, if they want to. Now, here's where things are getting interesting. We've heard from Elon Musk, we've heard from Vivek Ramaswamy. They're both running the Department of Government Efficiency. and they will be reporting to Donald Trump and the Trump administration, and they're going to try to eliminate wasted spending that the United States government is doing. Right now, we have kind of got through the potential government shutdown. And when we were going through this, especially on the final 24 to 48 hours, many people were saying that, don't worry, the essential workers will still be there. The non-essential workers will pretty much be laid off, sent home, and they won't get paid. Well, that's when many lawmakers kept asking, well, what are deemed non-essential workers? Why does the United States government have non-essential workers? It doesn't make much sense. Shouldn't we just let all non-essential workers go and the essential workers would complete the tasks that they need to complete? Potentially. And that would save a lot of money, which we could then push towards the child tax credits or potentially monthly payments. Now, look at this. It says Minnesota makes history with first of its kind advance payment for child tax credit. Now, I want to read this to you. Okay, this is from Governor Tim Walz. It says right here, Minnesota is leading the way once again, making history with a move that could significantly change the financial landscape for thousands of families. Governor Tim Walz has just announced a first in the nation advance payment option for states' child tax credit, and this is huge for our community. Here's how it works. It says, for the first time ever, taxpayers who qualify for Minnesota's child tax credit will have the opportunity to receive advance payments of the credit during the upcoming tax filing season. This means families don't have to wait until the end of this year for a lump sum refund. Instead, they can access the credit throughout the year in 3 installments, giving them more financial freedom and control. Okay. Now, this is what I think is interesting. We're going to go over the numbers in a minute, but Minnesota is the first of its kind to do this. They are going to offer a state child tax credit, but you can get advance payments on this. All right? The reason why I'm showing you this is because we got a lot of great reports. We saw a lot of studies that were shown that proved that children benefited from a monthly payment to their parents. If parents received a monthly child tax credit payment over that 6 months, that pulled millions of children out of poverty. I think it was like 3+ million children were pulled out of poverty in the matter of months. As soon as that first payment went through, children were pulled from poverty. Okay, they were not being starved. They had food, they had clothes, they had school supplies, everything that they needed. Look at this. This is from Minnesota. So let's break it down. For tax year 2023, over 223 tax returns claimed the child tax credit, with an average total of $1,252 per household. That's more than $562 million flowing directly into Minnesota families' pockets to help cover everything from groceries to school supplies. Now, keep in mind, it's 3 installments, okay? So if we just take the $1,200, that means every 3 months, okay? Actually, every 4 months, every 4 months, that family would receive $400, okay? Every 4 months for the year, that family would receive a $400 payment. That would actually be pretty big, especially for people that are struggling to put food on the table, keep a roof over their head, keep the lights on, right? That would be massive. That would be huge. So again, right now, when we are seeing J.D. Vance, and this is actually back in, I believe, August. Okay, I want to read this to you. It says, I'd love to see a child tax credit that's $5,000 per child. That's what J.D. Vance said on Face the Nation. It says President Trump has been on record for a long time supporting a bigger child tax credit, and I think you want it to apply to all American families. Yeah, that would be huge. A $5,000 payment for all children per child. That would be massive. Now, there's a little bit over 73 million children in the United States. That accounts for over 20% of the U.S. population are children. So providing up to $5,000 would be huge, but the key here is Are we going to be able to save money elsewhere? Save money through social spending programs. Save money through the Department of Education. Save money by not sending, $100+ billion over to Ukraine. But we have to provide assistance to Ukraine, or we could potentially be at risk of going to war. And so right now, what the Trump administration has been saying is they have a plan to accomplish this negotiation, a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. But it's going to take some time, and it's a little bit more difficult than he imagined, especially when the Biden administration is allowing the Ukraine to launch missiles deep into Russia. It's actually putting more pressure on our current administration. Plus, it's going to be a little bit harder for President Trump once he steps in on January 20th, 2025. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All we know right now is if we can accomplish these other goals, like securing our border, okay, deporting illegal immigrants that are causing harm to the United States citizens, like setting people on fire on the subway. Yeah, that really happened, and that is concerning. If we can get rid of those people, right, we can bring our costs down. We don't have $1 trillion in interest payments, right? That would be huge. We can use that money to put towards the American people, put towards Social Security, towards better healthcare, towards children, towards safety. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.